I love talking about NXT, man. It makes me happy. Talking about NXT makes me happy. I love coming on here and being positive, and I love talking about the good things that we see on television. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's a lot easier for me to talk about the bad, Raw and SmackDown, than it is the good in NXT. I want to do things a little bit differently tonight, man. I want to do things a little bit different. Instead of praising how great the ending segment was with Gargano and Champa, instead of sitting here talking about how great Shayna Baszler's coming along and how much she's progressed and how I think she's progressing faster in many aspects compared to Ronda Rousey, I want to talk about a negative to start this review. And it's not really a bad negative. It's just something that I think WWE could have easily avoided. I love Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black has an amazing career ahead of him. He's got a great look. He's fucking great in the ring. He's got a great entrance. He's got a great theme. He's got everything. Guy can talk for himself. The guy is legit. Everything about Aleister Black is future of WWE. But the one thing that I've said time and time again, and you guys know I've said this, and I truly believe, Aleister Black did not need to be the NXT champion. There are just some guys that don't need the championship. And the fact that Aleister Black is the NXT champion right now, and WWE is treating him like a bench player going into Chicago, it's a little disappointing, not only for him, not only for the brand, but for that title. I'm not going to sit here and say Aleister Black is holding the NXT championship hostage. It's nothing like that. It's the simple fact that WWE has the title on one of their best talents in the entire company. And it's honestly the third most important thing. In some aspects, it's the fourth most important thing. If you even want to go a stretch further than that, the fifth most important thing going into TakeOver. I think every other title match on TakeOver Chicago's card is more important than the NXT Championship. Shayna Baszler and Nikki Cross has had more build than Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black. The Tag Team Championship, undisputed with Oni fucking Lorcan and Danny Burch, has had more build and more weeks of television than the NXT Championship. And if you want to talk about importance, Ricochet and Velveteen Dream are killing it, and there's no championship on the line. Gargano and Champa, I don't need to say anything about that. You guys know how important that feud is. When you look at TakeOver Chicago, Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan is the fifth most important match on that show. And I ask you why. Does the NXT Championship deserve to be fifth best going into a major pay-per-view? Did Aleister Black really need the championship at this point in his NXT career when he's probably going to be called up by the end of the year? And is Lars Sullivan the right guy? Is Lars Sullivan the right guy for Aleister Black as his first real feud? It doesn't even feel like a first real feud. It's been given barely any television. You know, I urge WWE to do the right thing. Not for Aleister Black and not for Lars Sullivan. I urge WWE to do the right thing and put the NXT Championship match on last. At this point, I don't even think it's going to go on last. If Triple H made the decision at NXT TakeOver New Orleans to put Gargano and Champa on last in a non-sanctioned match over a great match with Almas and Black, A match that could have easily headlined any fucking WWE show, period. I don't think he's going to do it in Chicago. Which raises the question, and I go back to what I said. Did Aleister Black really need the NXT Championship? You can go a stretch further than that. Did Andrade Cien Almas really need to be called up to SmackDown Live? Has he done anything in between him being called up and take over Chicago? Did he really need to be called up to the main roster to do nothing? To wrestle enhancement talents and begin a feud with Sin Cara? Was that necessary for SmackDown Live? Almas hasn't moved the needle. Almas hasn't made the show better. Almas hasn't given us a 5-star classic. But NXT needed him. He would have put on 5-star classics in NXT. He would have been making NXT's TV tapings and TV shows weekly better with Zelina. The most important aspect of it, Aleister Black would have had a legit match to at least begin his title reign. The only title match that Aleister Black has had so far is an impromptu match with Eric Young. We were supposed to get Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black, but Tommaso Ciampa put a stop to that. Aleister Black doesn't need the NXT Championship. Is Lars Sullivan the right guy to take that title off of him? No, he's not. I don't think Lars is there yet. And Lars may be in the same boat as Aleister Black. I don't even think Lars is going to need the NXT Championship. Seriously. I think putting the title on a guy like that, merely it's going to make them a transitional champion. And this is what I fear Aleister Black is going to be. I feel like they gave Aleister Black the title as a thank you for all the hard work that you've done so far in NXT, with really no plan to book this guy into the future as their champion. He's not going to be a Neville, he's not going to be a Finn Balor type champion who holds the title and defends it month after month after month, takeover after takeover after takeover. He's not going to be that type of guy. He didn't need it. He was already main roster bound before they gave him the championship. And now you see the result of them giving him the title. Everything else is more important than the NXT Championship. But is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing for NXT? You could look at it right now and look at the landscape and say, yeah, it's a bad thing because the title really isn't being given a spotlight. But the good thing about it is, the reason the title is there is because legitimately everybody else is stepping up their game. The amount of talent NXT has is fucking busting at the seams. They're shitting out talent on a weekly basis here. They got so much talent that you could put that title on and they would be okay. Which raises the question, what happens in Chicago? What happens with Aleister Black? Does he beat Lars Sullivan? I say yes. I don't think Lars is the guy to take the title off of Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black, right now, he's above the NXT Championship. Again, I'm going to say it. He didn't need it. He didn't need the NXT Championship. Now, what you do, coming out of Chicago, and I hope WWE has a plan here. Ricochet, in what we've seen so far, the guy is fucking bulletproof. The guy is untouchable. I don't think anything WWE does with this guy, if they want to have him lose in Chicago against Velveteen Dream, it will do absolutely nothing to halt or stun his momentum. Nothing. What you do need to do is you need to give Velveteen Dream a win in Chicago. You're not going to have him go into these major matches and become the next Tyler Breeze. You don't want to have Velveteen Dream be the next Tyler Breeze. Dream has gotten endorsements from everybody. Lately, John Cena. And he's the pet project of Shawn Michaels right now at the PC. If Velveteen Dream is being given this much praise and being nurtured like this by Shawn Michaels himself, why do you want to have him go out there and not be the best thing that you have to offer on this roster? Do you honestly think a loss to Ricochet is going to do anything for this guy? Ricochet could lose to Velveteen Dream and then be put in a championship match and people won't even fucking care. Because Ricochet is that damn good. Now, if Velveteen Dream beats Ricochet, then you got a reason to take the title off of Aleister Black. Because what those guys did in their feud, I want to see happen again, but this time for the NXT Championship. Because if you look at the landscape of NXT, there really isn't anybody to step up to the plate. I would love Champa to be the fucking champion and have Gargano take the title of Champa. That is my fantasy booking. These guys are going to have 3 matches. This is the second. I envision another one. And I envision the championship being on the line. But if WWE doesn't do that, Velveteen Dream needs to be in the championship match at TakeOver Brooklyn. Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream 2 for the NXT Championship. Dream takes the title. The title is on somebody that everybody wants to see. Someone right now who is hotter than Aleister Black and hotter than the NXT Championship. So you put the two together and you put the title on Dream, and by the amount of reaction and with the amount of momentum Dream has right now, the title will be back where it needs to be, in the spotlight. Because right now, they're not giving any of that to Aleister Black. And he didn't need the title to begin with. Ricochet could be NXT champion tomorrow. Velveteen Dream could be NXT champion tomorrow. Gargano and Champa, self-explanatory. But I think right now, whatever they're doing doesn't need the NXT championship. Eventually, in my opinion, it will. That's the next chapter. Because Gargano is owed a championship. You don't think NXT is going to just automatically forget that happened. Adam Cole is North American champion. EC3 is there. He's not ready for a championship yet. Cassius Ohno is there. Pete Dunne is there. WWE has a lot of talent in NXT. Taking the title off of Aleister Black, putting it on Velveteen Dream, and then moving Aleister Black up to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live, God forbid, NXT won't even feel it the next day. It'll be like a paper cut. You'll feel it, but after a couple days, the heel will start to go away. And new skin will be formed. I just don't like going into Chicago that the NXT Championship right now is legitimately, it's the way I see it, it's 5th best. Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black is the 5th best match going into TakeOver Chicago, and it's for the NXT Championship. Every other championship has been built up better on television. I feel like both of these guys have been given the short end of the stick going into Chicago for TakeOver. That's just my opinion on that. Let me know what you guys think about that, man. I wanted to start the review off different. You know, it's very difficult to come on here and say, yeah, this one beat that one, and, you know, how many weeks can I praise Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa? You guys know how I feel about it already. Why do I have to be a broken record? Maybe the new people who come and subscribe based off this video, you want to go back and watch my older NXT videos, do that. It's been the best thing on WWE television all year. After what I've seen tonight, Gargano and Ciampa are going to have the match of the year. This is what wrestling is about. Whatever Gargano and Ciampa are doing, this is what wrestling is about. This is what Raw and SmackDown is lacking. This is what we want and crave, thirst for, desire on Raw and SmackDown. All year in 2018, I haven't seen one thing that even comes close to resembling what Gargano and Ciampa did so far throughout this year. Why is that? Why is that? Is it because everybody on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live has been so complacent with their positions and status? Is it because Gargano and Ciampa are hungry? Is it because the younger guys down in NXT at the Performance Center at Full Sail are hungrier? But they don't understand if they continue to feed their bellies Vince McMahon is going to be the big, mighty wolf waiting for them at the top of the mountain who's going to feast. Doesn't matter what you do in NXT. As soon as you get to the main roster, all your accomplishments in NXT mean nothing. That's what I'm afraid of. Anyway, man, I don't want to ramble. We'll go over tonight's show. I do have a few NXT news and notes, man. I got releases. There were a few releases in NXT. First, I want to start off with Zeta. She was in the Mae Young Classic. A developmental talent, Zeta, released from the WWE. According to a report from Squared Circle Sirens, an NXT developmental talent has been released. Zeta was released from her WWE contract. She was a competitor in the Mae Young Classic in 2017. She really didn't impress anybody. I mean, I wasn't impressed by her whatsoever in the Classic or in her one appearance on NXT television. She was eliminated in the first round by NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. She also competed in a few matches in NXT before being released this past weekend. Her profile on WWE.com reads as follows: with a background in MMA, amateur wrestling, and sports entertainment, not to mention singing, acting, and modeling, Zeta enters the Mae Young Classic with one of the most unique skill sets. She might be a relatively unknown entity in WWE, having only joined the Performance Center earlier this year. But Zeta is the real deal. Prior to arriving in Orlando, she received wrestling training under the likes of Brian Kendrick and the fighting tutelage at Black House MMA, the same facility where UFC legend Anderson Silva practices himself. A graduate of Virginia Commonwealth University Communications program, she is concentrated on public relations. Zeta is no longer with the WWE after this weekend. And she only had one message to deliver to her peers in the Classic: watch out. That was from her. I don't know who writes these things. It's just fucking downright cringe when you read the articles on WWE.com. But that was the bio from her WWE.com profile. Zeta released from the WWE. This one actually is quite disappointing to me, man, because I looked at them and their transformation over the years in developmental and in NXT when we did see them on NXT television. The Ely brothers. With the Authors of Pain moving up to the main roster and somehow disappearing off the face of the earth. I don't know where the fuck they are. I think somebody abducted them. Maybe they were abducted by aliens. Maybe they were kidnapped. Maybe Paul Ellering just said, fuck you guys, you want to betray me? And he kidnapped them somewhere like fucking some Law and Order shit. I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I wish I knew. But the Ely brothers looked the part for some type of manager or advocate. And I think Paul Ellering would have fit with them very well. They had a look that was of a dominating, look, and they had the black jackets. They looked tough. They looked like big fucking guys that are going to go out there and kick your ass. And I wish they would have been given an opportunity, but apparently one of the Ely brothers has been released from his NXT contract. Uriel Ely was let go from the company last week. It's unclear why one of the brothers was released and not the other. Gabriel Ely recently talked about having 24-hour migraines on his Instagram, so it sounds like he's currently dealing with effects of a head injury. The Ely signed with WWE in 2015. They were last seen on NXT TV in January of this year, wrestling against TM61. That was reported by Pro Wrestling Sheet and Ryan Satin on June 4th, 2018. Very disappointing news, man, but if you're a tag team in WWE, you don't really have much to look forward to past NXT. As soon as you see Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, you are completely lost in the abyss. There's no hopes for tag team on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. None. So maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. Sad to see, though, because I thought they were untapped potential out of the Performance Center for NXT. NXT TV tonight, man. Shayna Baszler started the show. And I want to say this right out of the gate. This may be an unpopular opinion, according to some. Ronda Rousey has her WrestleMania moment. Ronda Rousey had a great debut at WrestleMania. Not taking that away from her. Ronda Rousey is clearly the more talented of the two in the ring. But we got Shayna Baszler here. And I'm looking at everything that Shayna Baszler has done as far as presentation, as far as entrance and theme, and just being portrayed on television. And I look at her in-ring skills last, because I knew that was going to be lacking anyway for Shayna Baszler. I kind of had a feeling she was going to get everything else right before the in-ring stuff. And the in-ring stuff is going to come. You know, it just takes some longer than others to get that right. Shayna Baszler right now is doing great work. She's great on the microphone. She's believable. She's legit. And she's just coming along and progressing very nicely. To a point where I think she's got a step over Ronda Rousey in that aspect. Ronda may have the in-ring stuff down and she's still learning. But Ronda on the microphone, Ronda with mic positioning and promo time and, you know, just getting the words out of her mouth. And this feud with Nia is doing her absolutely no favors, man. It's like WWE is using her and portraying her in the worst possible fucking way right now. Meanwhile, Shayna Baszler is exceeding all expectations on NXT. She came out and she takes the microphone and says, "Strong will always defeat the weak, but there's always got to be one. There's always got to be one who thinks they're above everything else." Nikki Cross heads out and Baszler talks some trash about putting her to sleep before throwing down the microphone at Cross. And Cross just stands there frozen. And Shayna Baszler says, you know, the only one who thinks that you're better than me is you in your fucking pea-brained mind of yours. You know, in the dark dimensions of your mind. You're the only one who thinks you could beat me. So Nikki Cross is standing there frozen in time almost, and Shayna Baszler is asking everybody, is she insane? Is she crazy? So Nikki Cross eventually starts yelling, "Do it." She takes the microphone and starts yelling, "Do it, do it, do it." I don't know if she was, you know, just completely losing her fucking mind. I love it. I love it. I love the unpredictability of Nikki Cross here. And she starts screaming, "Do it, do it, do it." And Baszler just stands there holding the title. She's fucking confused. She don't know what to think. So Cross lunges at her, and Baszler flinches. She does one of those, like, I'm going to punch you, but then doesn't punch her. So Baszler backs off. She gets afraid, and Nikki Cross starts laughing. Baszler then shoves Nikki Cross. Cross goes wild, and there's a big brawl, and they're punching each other, and Shayna Baszler is just completely getting beat down by Nikki Cross here. Cross goes to pick up the title. Baszler pops her in the face with her right hand. She knocks Nikki Cross out of the ring. Hits the mat hard. But Nikki Cross gets back up on the apron, climbs to the top rope, does a beautiful crossbody block, and Baszler bounces to the outside. She retreats with the title. She's got a busted lip. It's going to be a damn good match, man. 2 weeks we've had. 2 weeks of build we've had. And I can't wait to see these two go at it. I would love to see the unpredictability of Nikki Cross test the still green and still learning, still progressing Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna's going to come across very well in this match. I think, you know, WWE, and if I was WWE, I would let these two go. I wouldn't really hold these two behind restrictions at all, just because of the nature of the feud so far. I want to see Shayna Baszler, you know, fight a little bit more instead of showing off her submission techniques, because we know that's what she can do best. I want to see Shayna, you know, go in there and fight Nikki Cross. I don't expect Nikki Cross to be, you know, matching submission holds with Shayna Baszler at NXT TakeOver. I want to see a fucking fight, and I want to see Shayna Baszler fucking fight. I want to see what she can do with someone like Nikki Cross at TakeOver. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And the 2 weeks that we've got, it's actually been longer than that, but Nikki Cross has been on TV the last 2 weeks with this shit. You know, she was presented in that feud when it was beginning with Dakota Kai. She was just in the distance, watching and lurking. But I can't wait to see what they do, man. I think it's going to be a great match. And Nikki Cross is a great interim opponent for Shayna Baszler before she moves on to Kairi Sane. That's just my honest opinion. I think Kairi Sane, she's due for a championship match against Shayna. I think that's what we're going to see at TakeOver Brooklyn. I think it's going to be Kairi Sane taking the belt off Shayna, and I think then we're going to get Bianca Belair, because I think Kairi Sane and Bianca Belair will be a fantastic feud for the NXT Women's Championship, man. That's what I think is going to happen on the yellow brand as far as the Women's Championship goes. TM61 versus Mike Hewley and Robbie Grand. TM61, man, they were as physical as I have ever seen them, and they legitimately finally came off as heels here. Fucking beautiful drop kicks, really stiff shots. They really took no prisoners in this match. Yes, it was against jobbers, but this is what the enhancement talent is supposed to do. They're supposed to go in there and get their fucking ass kicked. That's exactly what these two guys did. Mike Hewley and Robbie Grand. They made TM61 look like legit fucking threats tonight. After all the cheating that TM61 has done over the past couple of weeks, they went in there and said, you know what, yeah, we've gotten a few wins, but you guys should not be overlooking us at this point for the NXT Tag Team Championships. You want to talk about your Street Profits? We beat them. You want to talk about Heavy Machinery? We beat them. Only Lorcan, Undisputed Era, War Raiders. We're watching. And everybody's going to kneel down to the mighty. So, TM61 legitimately came off his heels, man. They look badass in their match with these two guys. Their promo, they got booed. That's all you can ask for, man. It seems to be working. It seems to be working slowly, but it seems to be working. If they can go up against a team like War Raiders and cheat to win there and get the advantage there by using sly heel-like tactics, I think it's going to result in a win-win here for TM61. They get that big match, they get catapulted to the Tag Team Championship, and they get that legit heel heat all at the same time. So we got to see what happens with that, man. But it's interesting to see how, these guys came back when Shane Thorne came back from injury, and they were going to be positioned, I thought, to be the big guys, the winners of the Dusty Classic. And then WWE switched it up on us, and now we're getting a more aggressive, a more heel-like TM61. I can't say that I don't like it, but, they were very boring the way they were. WWE gave them that video package. They gave you a glimpse of them and who they are outside the ring. I thought they were going to get behind TM61 as the next babyface team in WWE, but you don't need a babyface team. Everybody's a babyface in the tag team division. Street Profits, Heavy Machinery, War Raiders. You need a heel team. Only Lorcan and Danny Burch are a babyface team. The only heel teams you got are Undisputed Era and now TM61. If they could pull it off and they could be legitimate heels and believable heels, this could be a great career move for them. But right now, we have a division full of baby faces. If these guys can pull it off, I see success for them in the tag team division. Roderick Strong and Danny Burch, man, you knew this was going to be a hard-hitting affair, and that's exactly what it was. These guys pretty much killed each other. Clotheslines, man, Roderick Strong's knife-edge chops, man. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to fucking stand there and take a fucking knife-edge chop from Roderick Strong, man. Holy shit. Danny Burch is very impressive, man. Normally we see him with Oney Lorcan. We've seen him in the United Kingdom Championship Tournament. Danny Burch is a solid fucking wrestler. But obviously, Burch had the win here. You had Undisputed Era come down. The rest of Undisputed Era come down. Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan follow. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly get on the apron. They try and distract Danny Burch. Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan come from the back. They drag them off the apron. They swing at each other. There's a big brawl on the outside. Burch has a crossface on Roderick Strong. Roddy looked to be tapping. Adam Cole then breaks free. He lays out Pete Dunne, gets right back on the apron, yells at Danny Burch. Burch gets distracted. He releases the hold. Roderick Strong, he does a draping backbreaker on Danny Burch, and he pins him for the cover. Roderick Strong wins via pinfall over Danny Burch. At the end of the match, he's celebrating with one half of the tag team championships. Pete Dunne gets in the ring. They start brawling at each other. And O'Reilly comes in from behind with a chop block. And then Roderick Strong delivers the end of Heartache to Pete Dunne and lays out Pete Dunne. And then all of Undisputed Era stand tall on the aisleway going into the back, man. And I do believe, I think I seen a WWE.com exclusive. I think Kyle O'Reilly is challenging Pete Dunne to a United Kingdom Championship match next week on NXT. So that should be interesting, man. Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne should be another hard-hitting affair, man. I'm loving this feud between Undisputed Era and two-thirds of the UK guys. You know, you got Oney Lorcan mixed in there. He's a Boston native. He's an underdog. It's great to see, guys. You know, this is how deep NXT is, man. You got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch on TakeOver's card. Meanwhile, Adam Cole don't even have a match. Adam Cole don't even have a match going into TakeOver. That's how deep their roster is right now. When Oney Lorcan is on the card and Adam Cole is not, and they're still giving you a fucking show better than the main roster? Come on, bro. I hope that Adam Cole is added to TakeOver, though. I'd love to see Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne again, one-on-one at TakeOver Chicago. I think we deserve that, man. I think we deserve that. Hopefully WWE pulls through with that. Cassius Ohno is in a photo shoot. In comes EC3. He interrupts. Why are we taking photos with this guy, he says. Why are we taking photos with Cassius Ohno? And then Cassius Ohno, we get challenged by EC3. EC3 interrupts and says, you know, how much of a 1%er he is, how much of a breakout star he is, and this and that. And Cassius Ohno's like, is there a reason why you're out here? Is there a reason why you're out here? EC3 then has this line thrown at him by Cassius Ohno. He says that Ohno isn't a 1%er, EC3 says. Ohno responds and keeps saying that if you keep talking like that, he's 1% away from getting knocked out. I love that line, man. And then Ohno challenges him to a match next week. EC3 accepts. And we got EC3 in his first major match on NXT television against Cassius Ohno. There was a hype video package for Ricochet and Velveteen Dream that was out of this world, man. They're doing more for this feud than they are for the NXT Championship, which I just talked about in the beginning of this video. It was great. It was great. Ricochet talks about how he's always been the champion everywhere he's gone. He's been at a certain level. He needs to maintain being at that level or being above it. For 15 years, he's had to scratch and claw his way to the top, he says. In every company he's been in, he's held championship gold everywhere he's been. Dream says he's been blessed with talent where he's able to make an impact with ease. Ricochet jokes about Dream's toughest struggle being eliminated from Tough Enough, and Dream says, I have no memory of that. I have no memory of that. Man, you look back at Patrick Clark on Tough Enough, man, you look at what he is now, my God. The transformation is fucking unreal. Dream talks about being the king, you know. The kings are once being good, he says. Dream talks about kings being the once good king, but he's the prince. I thought he was going to mention something about, you know, it's great to be king, but kings always fall, or some shit like that. You know, but Dream and Ricochet, man, they may very well have the match of the year. You know, we got 2 match of the year candidates on this show, and that's all you need for a 5-match show to be a standout show. Gargano and Champa are going to blow everybody away. Ricochet and Dream, man, I fully expect this one to be one of the best matches of WWE all year. Lacey Evans versus Kairi Sane. Lacey Evans, I've been warming up to Lacey Evans, believe it or not. I've been warming up to Mandy Rose as well on SmackDown Live. But Lacey Evans has made some minor adjustments to her act that I appreciate. I still don't like the women's right. I think that's very cheesy. I think it's cringe. She came out with a glove. She took her glove off during her entrance, and she had Kairi written on her fist. Lacey Evans is getting a lot better, man, and I see her getting even better with time. But there was no way she was going to get 2 wins in a row over Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane, she came out, instead of wearing the white that we're traditionally used to seeing, she wore this multicolored. She looked very floral-like. She looked very anime-like with the bright colors all over the place. She was a little bit more physical than we're used to seeing. Kairi Sane's been on this thing where, you know, she feels like she's being slighted, that she is losing some self-esteem. So a win over Lacey Evans tonight really should wipe that all away, and Kairi Sane should be on the right track to getting back up top on the women's division. Lacey Evans did get some offense here. She had a beautiful springboard Elbow drop from the outside on the apron. She even attempted a moonsault, but missed. Lacey Evans attempted a moonsault, and yes, she looked better than Charlotte doing a moonsault because she had her knees bent. You know, when Charlotte does her moonsault, she don't bend the knees. It looks terrible. Lacey Evans bent the knees. She missed it, but the formation was a lot better than what we see from Charlotte Flair. Anyway, she misses the moonsault. Kairi Sane does 3 spears in a row. She does her big sliding forearm in the corner. She goes off the top rope with a flying forearm on Lacey Evans. She does an Alabama slam, sets her up in the corner, jumps up top, delivers the insane elbow like Morrow calls it, and gets the pin over Lacey Evans, man. Kairi Sane with a big victory over Lacey Evans. And then we got Tommaso Ciampa. Comes out, no theme music. I smile from ear to ear because it's the best thing on WWE television all week. To see this man being berated and boos, not coming out to theme music, it's just a great fucking sight, man. Comes out to a chorus of boos. Ciampa sits on the top turnbuckle with the microphone. You got chants of "You suck," "Johnny Wrestling," "You still suck," "You tapped out." Chicago, please do me a favor. When you greet Ciampa in Chicago on June 16th, can we get a "Fuck you, Ciampa" chant going on? I love to hear that. I was waiting for that at Full Sail, but, Full Sail is full of casuals, But, for their standards anyway. They're not really filled with casuals, but, it's family friendly. So I would love if Chicago starts chanting "Fuck you, Ciampa" at the Allstate Arena. He points to the crowd, and he just stands on the apron doing this. He's taking in all the fucking booze, man. It's like he's feeding his fucking hunger. He's feeding his soul, is Tommaso Ciampa. I love it. That's exactly what I'd do, man. I'd stand there and fucking embrace the hate. Embrace the hate. It's exactly what Roman needs to do, man. People boo him. Go out there and pretend you don't even give a fuck, man. You don't give a fuck. I love it. He says, listen. Before I even say anything, I want you guys to know you turned your back on me long before I turned my back on you. Ciampa says Gargano does what he wants. It's all about Johnny. Comes out and interrupts a match for no reason during EC3's match last week with Fabian Eichner. And he says, I signed my contract for TakeOver Chicago. Street fight. It's all about Johnny, he says. So Ciampa puts it on Gargano for nearly crippling his own wife. This is all your fault, Johnny. This is all your fault. You attacked me, says Ciampa, and I love that. I love it. How many people were thinking, man, this guy's a fucking asshole, and I fucking love it. Ciampa is saying, Johnny, this is all your fault. You were the one who injured your wife. You attacked me. I was defending myself. Meanwhile, this would have never even started if Ciampa didn't attack Gargano. Gargano was put through a table. Gargano was put in the ambulance. He was carted off. Comes out with a neck brace, about to announce his retirement. Ciampa says, I didn't want to fight you. The last thing I want to do is fight you. I didn't want this fight anymore. I wanted this to be over. Dick. He's blaming everything on Johnny. Meanwhile, none of this would have been a thing if he didn't put him through a table and ruin his championship match with Aleister Black. He left that out intentionally. On purpose. I love it, man. Absolutely great. He continues that Gargano should not show up. Says, Johnny, do yourself a favor. Don't show up at TakeOver. This will not be a happy ending for Gargano. You will be broken. I win. Gargano then comes out to the ring. He's being held by 2 security guards. Are 2 security guards really going to hold back a crazy psychopath who wants to get his hands on his ex-best friend? Fuck no. So he breaks away from the security. Security tries to hold him back. He tosses both of them away. He runs down to the ring. And Gargano gets in there and starts beating down Ciampa. They get in the ring. They start pulling him away again from Ciampa. Gargano jumps from the bleachers. He does a suicide dive, knocks Ciampa into the front row, jumps over the barricade. They start fighting in the crowd, and Ciampa trying to get away. He runs around the ring. Guards try to get Gargano again. He punches them. He throws one of them into the steel steps. Ciampa clocks Gargano and locks in the Gargano escape. He knocks Gargano out and then applies his own finishing move on him. We got every official in NXT, every referee in NXT now trying to break this thing up. Ciampa then lets go. He goes up the ramp, waving goodbye to Johnny. And as the NXT credits roll on the bottom of the screen, it's Gargano who says, "Fuck the credits." He runs up the ramp and chases Gargano up the ramp. He throws him into the LED board. He throws him into the little Titantron they got up there. And the next thing you know, Gargano throws him in there. Ciampa turns around, bleeding all over his face, man. Ciampa is busted fucking open. His face all blood red from being slammed into that LED board. So he got his revenge by getting thrown into the LED board. He gets one back on Ciampa. But this time, Ciampa was fucking busted open. Referees wiped him down clean because at the end of this thing, Gargano applied the Gargano escape. His face was wiped clean of the blood. They were taking care of that very quickly. But with the Gargano escape applied, Ciampa was tapping out. You seen the blood just start squirting out of his head, man. This was fucking great. Absolutely great ending to NXT tonight, man. If those guys don't put on the match of the year, I will be fucking shocked if they don't put on match of the year in Chicago. And I hope it's not over, man. This is the best thing on WWE television right now, bar none. Bar none. And I feel like what I talked about in the beginning, we get 3 matches out of these guys. It ain't going to end at 2. I think Ciampa is going to win in Chicago. In fact, I think Ciampa should win in Chicago. Johnny needed to win in New Orleans because this was his first match back. This was a non-sanctioned match. This was him getting his job back. But now that he's got his job back, I think Ciampa needs to get the win here, and then Ciampa needs to move on to the NXT Championship, take that away from Johnny, and have Johnny's world fall apart. And Johnny gets that revenge on Ciampa in Brooklyn for the NXT Championship and vanquishes his arch nemesis once and for all. I think that's the greatest story that could be told there with those two guys. But this is great, man. This ending, if you missed NXT tonight, that last 15 minutes, go out of your way and watch, man. The best stuff that you'll see all week on WWE television, easily. That's your NXT review, man. Thank you guys so very much. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. I have tossed around the idea of doing mini episodes of Off the Script Extra and getting you guys some rapid-fire news that we're not going to cover on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I might do that tomorrow. I might do a double upload tomorrow, depending on how I feel. No promises. So if you see one, you'll probably see the other. But I want to try and get some traction. I want to try and get some new viewers into the channel. Because I know a lot of my videos are hour and 15. Off the Script sometimes is 2 hours on Friday. And a lot of people don't have time to consume that much audio, especially on YouTube. So I figured if I give you guys some rapid-fire news with not much thought behind it, maybe a thought here and there, but not as in-depth, and then we'll cover everything fully in-depth on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. I'm thinking about doing that more like a, what I usually do, but way toned down. More like a cultaholic or a wrestle talk or a what culture, So we'll see what happens with that, man. I may be testing some things out for the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. So if you see something weird in your sub boxes and it's like 5-10 minutes, don't be alarmed. I ain't going anywhere. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm getting out of here, man. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you missed Raw and SmackDown Live, videos are on the channel right now. Go and check them out. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed NXT review tonight. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow with something for sure right here on the channel. And then I'll see you guys on episode 225 of Off the Script for Friday. See you guys later. Enjoy your Wednesday nights. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with more content right here on the channel. Have a good night.